Hey, I'm Sarah and welcome to Extraordinary Chaos, and I'm here today to introduce you to the XTool M1 Ultra. So this amazing machine is perfect for crafters. It cuts wood, paper, engraves. It's got a knife blade, it's also got a laser cutter, and it prints. I know. I mean, it just blows my mind. So I've spent the last few weeks testing out this machine. So it's a really easy machine to get going and set up. You'll see in a minute how it came out of the box. So it comes pre-built. You just put it together. It's super easy to get going. And I had it set up and was cutting wood in no time at all. What I wanted to do though is test it for everything. So as I said, there's going to be no tutorials. There's not going to be any how-tos. It's just going to be me testing things out of the box. So it took me a couple of weeks because there's so much I wanted to test. And I have cut wood, I have cut paper with the knife, I have lasered wood, I have printed, I have lasered slate. I don't think that was on the tutorial, but this is the little result of that. One of my favourite things is I've lasered card. I mean, these layered paper cuts were so easy to make and took no time at all. So every project I undertook, I've just worked blind really. So you can see this video is a bit like the blind leading the blind, but I wanted you to see what it's like out of the box, not once I've practiced and tried loads of projects. There's going to be loads of amazing videos from people with tutorials already that have practiced and have mastered it, but I wanted to show you what it's like when you've never read the instructions and you just get it out of the box and you're just working as you go along. And that's what we're doing in this video. I hope you enjoy it. Any questions, please do ask. I will share tutorials, but I just thought it was really important to experience it how you'd experience it so you can see actually what it does. There's no frills, it's just right. This is when I'm going to put some wood in, I'm going to engrave it, I'm going to try and cut some laser. I'm showing you what worked, what didn't work for me. I've tested everything, but I haven't tested the heat press yet. I have, but I didn't turn the video on. So I thought rather than wait and do that, I'm going to just upload that in a separate video. But let's get going. I hope you enjoy it, and we're going to start from day one when I took it out of the box. Okay, so before I get it set up, I just want to show you what comes in the various boxes that arrive, because I'm not going to spend ages setting it up and showing you how to do it, because there's step-by-step instructions. You don't need to see that from me. What I want to do is get it set up. Apparently it's really quick and easy to set up, so 15 minutes and I should be ready to go. So with my P2 I had to build all the riser base. This comes pre-moulded and preformed, and it's got the honeycomb base, so that's going to be super easy just to connect it to my M1 Ultra. This is the machine. It's a thing of beauty. I just love it. It's so pretty. So it comes just with everything in the box. It's all there ready to just undo it and set up. I think the only thing that comes separate was the laser module, and I've got the fan. I've got an air assist so that I can cut paper and card, which I'm really excited about. And then behind me, if you can see it, we've got the heat press. It's just not functional, is it? It looks great as well. So the great thing about the heat press is it could be used as a pressure heat press, or you can take it out separately and hold it down, plus there's a mini press. So what am I excited about this machine? So it prints. I mean, oh my goodness, a machine that prints. So because I make a lot of print and cut alphabets, I can print and cut my alphabets in one. That, if it's as good as I hope, it's going to be incredible. It also cuts paper and cardstock. I'm really excited to do that because I make a lot of SVG alphabets. I design SVGs all the time, so to be able to just put them all in and cut them out is going to be brilliant. And the print and cut feature, printing onto wood, printing my alphabets and cutting them out. There's so many things that I'm excited about this machine, because it's like a multi do it all in one type kind of machine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get it set up. I'll show you it set up, and then I'm just going to play. I'm going to try all the projects, and I will share with you my first-hand experience of how they turn out, just as a beginner. I've never used this machine before in my life. Okay, so let's get going. So inside the machine, it comes with everything you need. I've taken a few bits out. You've got a toolkit, pens. So this is all ready to come out and set up, and then I can remove the screws at the bottom and build it together. So it's taken 10 minutes to get to this stage and I'm ready for calibration. So I've just put some paper in to calibrate the knife, and we're going to calibrate and just check that it's cutting in the right place. Because this machine hasn't got a camera, you rely on this cross, and I'm sceptical because I'm used to working with the camera with a P2, but let's see how it goes. So I've calibrated it. I'm going to put my cross there. So this is just a practice. There's me, and I'm going to see if I can cut. Pulling that off there just because I just wanted it to stick for I spent ages waiting, and it has cut through. So now I'm going to cut a full wooden reef, and I fast forwarded it a bit, but actually it's cutting quite quickly. I'm really impressed so far with how this is cutting. That is the first cut. Apart from that little tiny test cut, this is it. This is the first time I've used this machine, and I thought I'd go large, why not? And I'm super impressed by that. But that's just such a beautiful clean cut, and I don't know if it's the air assist, but look how lovely that is. There's just no charring. It's brilliant. Super pleased with that. So now I have got air assist on, fans on, and it is cutting. It is weeded out, and I just can't believe it. It's brilliant. No charring, clean cut. If anything, I've messed with the settings. Do I need to mess with the settings because it's cut perfectly? I had to push some of them out, but they weren't attached. And then there's the wood one. So these are the first two projects I've made just straight out of the box. Okay, so as you can see, I've done a bit of testing. So this one didn't go through enough. That one I put in the wrong place. So what I've learned with cutting acrylic is doable, and it's not difficult. You've just got to get your settings right. So you have to measure. I mean, if you're using a clean sheet, it's super easy. You put it in and press go. But if you want to use areas like this to avoid wastage, you've got to measure, and it's actually quite easy. You measure from that cross across and down. I cut this at 100 speed, 100 power, 2 speed, and 3 passes. I tried it on 3 speed, didn't work, so it's 2 speed. 2 speed worked for me. Now with acrylic, I believe on these machines that it depends on the colour. On my P2, I just use the recommended settings. So I'm going to just take the backing off and make that into a keychain really quickly. So that's cut really nicely actually. There's a few bits on the edges, but actually it's not bad. No, so I've just got to knot that, and I've got a little. So I'm going to try and engrave on this. So what I've done is I've set my heart up there, and I've put the cross in the middle because there's no camera. I'm trying to work out how I can easily do it without using my phone, and so let's see how I get on. I'm going to measure it now to see, and you can see that it goes down and then back, so that makes me a bit hopeful that that's going to work. There, and I've measured the key ring, so I wanted it to go in the middle, so it was like 20 mil. So I've measured that at 20 mil and popped that right on the cross. And then we're going to set it to engrave, and let's have a go. Oh my God, and it's doing it exactly where I set it. I'm thrilled with that. Just brilliant. I love it. I just can't believe how quick I made that. Okay, that's a blank, but you could cut them out and engrave them. every bit as easy, but that's just a really nice, easy little project. I'm going to go for it. I am going to make a cheese board, so I'm going to put that to the middle of there, and I'm going to upload a cheese board file to XLS space, and then I'm going to engrave a cheese board. So we're going to plot out, I'm going to press. If you watch the arrow, that's where it's going to cut. Here we go, we've started our cheese board. You can see it's starting to engrave it out now. So this is going to take 16 minutes. So I will come back to you. Wow! So there we have it. It's a bit darker there. Oh no, I don't know if it is or not. There's a light, but look at that. So that took 16 minutes. Can't leave it, but I've just sat next to it and done a bit of work. I'm quite pleased with that placement as well. And as I could add to it, I could make it bigger, but again, this is the first projects I've made on this machine. I've not practiced before or videoed. I just thought I'm going to go right in and show you what you can do and how easy or not easy it is, and I'm finding it quite easy. I'm quite impressed. Next, we are going to have a go at blade cutting on paper. So I'm not even halfway through all the things this machine can do, but this is a big deal to me, so I want to see what it cuts like on paper. Now this is a little toolkit that comes with the machine, and it's got everything you need in there. So you've got your embossing tool, you've got your, so I don't know if I showed you that, embossing tool, blade, and then that's the rotary tool, and there's a deep cut blade in there as well. So there's loads, there's so much and so many attachments. So I'm going to start with the blade. I'm going to put that into the machine and we're going to cut something and see how it comes out. My cut module is in here, and I've got some cardstock on the mat. The mat is stuck down and it's within the guidelines, and now I'm going to set it to cut something. So not laser, just cut cardstock, but I'm going to put quite an intricate design in to see if it can do it. Project there. I've got it down for fine point blade, fine cuts, and it's saying start. Here we go, let's see how this turns out. So this was on 175 pressure and 300 speed. That lifts straight off, so that's cut through absolutely beautifully. So I'm going to take that off the mat now and show you, but then do you know what, I'm going to go for it and try glitter, because I cut loads on glitter cardstock. So I just want to make sure that it cuts all the things that I cut regularly. Butterfly, and as I say, it took 8 minutes, and it was on 175 pressure for 300 speed, but it's just such a beautiful cut. It's come out beautiful. So yes, I could laser that quicker, but I've got that cut option, which you can leave it when you're cutting it where I'd like to stay with it while I'm lasering. Okay, so now I'm going to try it on the glitter cardstock, which is thicker. And glitter cardstock, and this was cut on 240 pressure, 300 speed. So it took 9 minutes, but that cut's amazing. So I'm going to just peel that off now. Here you go, cut on white glitter cardstock. I caught that bit with the weeding tool, but apart from that, I haven't pulled those out yet, but they're going to come out. Just gotta, it's just fab. It's cut beautifully. Next task, embossing. I'm going to emboss this, and then I'm going to have a go at foiling. So I'm just going to pop this in the housing, and that's in. And then pop the magnetic cover back on, and I've got our embossing tool in there. So I'm going to try and emboss this first, and then I'll foil it, but I'm quite excited about seeing what it does with the embossing feature. So let's have a go. Try this Unicorn SVG. And that's just framing the area where it's going to go, so I can see that it's definitely fitting on the area. That is such a brilliant tool, actually. Right, so let's have a look at this. Oh wow, can you see that? That is amazing. I mean, that I'd use that just to make cards on its own. I'm gonna have a go now. I'm going to do it again on a different card, but with foil, to see what the difference is and how the foil looks. But that is beautiful. I've put a piece of cardstock in and I have sellotaped the foil around the edge, so I'm going to get it to go around this middle bit. So like between 3 and 6, 1 and 5, and I'm going to do exactly the same design. There it is. I'm going to move it between 3 and 6. Did I say on 1? So I'm going to move it down there because I want to be able to cut it off the thing. So it should just fall in there. I might just make it a tiny bit smaller. And then I've got my speed and pressure set already, so everything else should be set up. Oh, you can go bold, regular or thin. I've got my settings, so I'm going to move that down ever so slightly. Then I'm going to process and start. Now, if this works, I'll be over the moon because I've tried foiling the past and I've never been happy with the results. It's been a bit patchy, so if this works, I'll be over the moon. I'll use it loads. It's finished. Right, so the aim is with this, I'm going to cut the foil after. Oh my, look at that. That is the best foiling result I've ever seen on using it like on a machine like this. This is amazing. There's the embossed version, which, to be quite honest, equally stunning. But look at that. That is just beautiful. I will use that all the time. It's incredible. We go out of the machine. It's just stunning. I think as long as you get your placement right, it just turns out so well. Now you can also emboss on leather and all sorts. So I am putting it through its paces and trying it on lots of little projects. But look at that. I mean, what you could do for that for Christmas cards is just put a whole A12 sheet in, 12 by 12 sheet in, and just do cut or foil all of your images and then just cut it with a guillotine, or you could cut it with a knife after, but that would be so easy to do. So we're going to now remove this. This is the ink cartridge, so I've just popped the ink in there, so that's in the bottom of there. That's not clipped in properly. So, and you've got this little base plate to stop it being dry. I've never used it, never plugged it in, so let's have a go. Just getting the knack of sliding those in, shutting that, and then this plugs in here. Once that's done, we can put the front cover back on. There's a little gap for that. Then we've got this little plate that's going to go down the bottom there. So I've just calibrated the machine, and I've done, this was the calibration, and then I've done 2 prints with the printing module. Now this is quite a bumpy card. That was the first one at 60% intensity, and it wasn't enough, so I thought, right, I'll put it up to 100, and that's really good. I've now put the knife blade back in, put my cover on the ink cartridge, and now I'm going to try and cut this out and see if that works. I've done this before, so just working through it. So it was on the inkjet printing, and I'm going to change it to blade cut. That's it, that's all I wanted to do. So I've traced it, auto trace. Now, that's it. Oh, look, you can do an offset. So I'm going to confirm that. I'm going to cut my offset. Now this is quite good for stickers. So processing cut, fine point blade, setting, user defined. Oh, here we go, easy set panel. So my cut pressure, I'm going to do I think 200 for this, and speed 300, I think I did last time. Right, we're just playing, so let's have a go. So it's got that in, it's preparing, it's just going to cut around the edge, that's what I want. It's already printed it, so let's have a look. Bigger image I haven't got, I've ignored that, so I just hope it just is going to go around the edge. And it is. This is brilliant. And there you go, just cut it out. It's printed, I've then set it to cut and put an offset on, and it did it. I mean, that is just mind-blowing. I can't get it off now, I need a scraper or something. That's it. That's going to be my favourite feature of this machine. I mean, it does so much, but I use print and cut all the time. It's my favourite thing, and look at that. Oh my goodness, it's just beautiful. That's such a lovely cut. The offset's perfect. I've set it up to print. Uploaded my sailing letters, so I'm now going into inkjet printing, and there they are. Easy set panel. I'm going to select them all, and then I'm going to go in and set the intensity for 100. I think it just needs to be, and then I am going to outline. Confirm my outline, and I'm going to process. Preparing to print, and there you go, it's going to print those four. So let's set it to print. I'm thrilled with how they turned out, actually. Look at those, the colour's gorgeous on those. What I'm going to do now is cut them. So it's 180, speed at 300. Fine point blade, so let's process that. And let's see how we get on with that. It's just cutting now. I've put an offset on, and so far, so good. So we'll leave that to do its thing, and we'll come back to it in a minute. Okay, and look at that, I've just peeled the backing off and on the edges, and I'm thrilled with how they've come out. They are super pretty. When you do your print and cut, you've got to frame them, and then you send your frame to cut after you've printed, and it works out just great. It took me a few efforts to get used to that, but it's actually really, really easy. We're going to try this on wood. So I've added an outline, but if you click this button here, you can add inner line for bitmaps. So I'm going to, can you see when I click it, I'm going to take that out because I'm just going to try a really quick and easy jigsaw, see how this goes. Then I'm going to get a shape, rectangle, and I'm going to draw that round there. And then I'm going to copy and paste that there. I wonder if I can just make my corners a bit rounded. Oh, there you go. So I'm going to get rid of that. Duplicate that. Paste. So in theory now, I've got everything I need to make a jigsaw puzzle. I've got my letters to print, to cut, the outs. So let's have a go and see if I can do this all in, well, not all in one go. You have to print, swap the modules, and then laser. Let's have a go. To swap it, because it has to be on the base plate. So I've positioned it so it's exactly on the cross up there, so that when I swap it over for lasering, hopefully it will then go exactly on the cross again. Okay, so that has now printed, and actually that's come out really well on wood. It's not mega dark, but it's pretty. I am quite pleased with that. So now I'm going to, how this is going to go, I don't know, but my plan is that the X will go in exactly the same place when I put it in on the honeycomb base, and I can cut it. So let's see. So what I'm going to do is unplug this. We're going to remove the laser module. So just unclip it, lift it out. I've already unplugged it and popped the plug back in there. And now we're going to put the laser module back in. Before I do that, I'm going to take this out. So there we go. And pop the honeycomb base in. So put that back in. And clip that in. And that's in. So I set this to engrave first. So I've had to redo it to cut. I'm going to turn off my desktop fan. This is brilliant. Got that set up. I've got my air assist there, and I am going to have a look. This has turned out really well. I've got my letters. So what's going to happen is I'm going to stick that on there, and I'm probably going to put a backing in. And I'll glue those together, and then my letters go in there. So I don't think I've done bad. I didn't put any things to clip them out, because this is the first time I've ever done it. I know I keep saying that, but it could be better centered. But I think it's just getting practice transferring it from your plate to the honeycomb. But pretty pleased with that. All the projects, as I say, have all been firsts. So I think with a bit of practice, they're just going to be perfect, because that's not far off. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it answered some questions. I think when you're looking at buying a big purchase, it's quite difficult to know if it's going to work for you, and you've seen the projects firsthand, so you can see how I didn't really find it difficult to do any of the tasks. So because I had the P2 and the old M1 and they had cameras, I just couldn't work out how I'd make it work without a camera, but it's actually very easy with the guide, and I really love the where you can press and you can see where you're going to cut. So it's not as fast as the P2, of course it isn't, because that's a bigger laser module, but you know what, for the price and for what it does, it's excellent value, and it's a really good cutter. I loved the way that it cut the card, vinyl. It's all about getting your settings right. Engraving and cutting wood, outstanding, much better than the last machine. And I think for me the biggest difference was using an air assist as well, and the desktop fan. It's also compact and easy to use. So thanks for watching along, and any questions, just drop them in the comments below.